Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Andrea and I would like to welcome you to this second week on the series of positive culture. And today I'll be talking about making an impact in the world. How I can do an impact in the world, or how can I make this world a better place. It's a pleasure for me to be speaking about this, and I hope and it's my prayer that you will be able to bear with me and to understand all along what's the main message that I want to convey to you. So this message was built on, especially on these two pictures that you will see in the background of the two videos that I posted in English and Spanish. And the one in Spanish, you will see that I'm with a small kid called Carlitos, and in the other one, I'm giving my back. So let me just first explain the first one. In the first one, you'll see me with this little kid, and this picture was taken in 2016 when we had a huge earthquake, one of the worst in the history, in the Ecuadorian history, that affected fully many communities in the coast of Ecuador. I took this picture with this kid because we went to help a community, a really poor community, and to collect data on the basic needs that we wanted to help them later on. So the reason why I'm mentioning this experience is because one of my main kind of motivations of living was to serve people and to be there with people and to offer them everything that I've learned so far, either in psychology or education or in any single way possible. I wanted to help and give myself to people. However, I knew that that wasn't enough. That didn't really give me peace, the peace that I needed, and the comfort, and just to be content with my life. And then it's also linked to an experience that I had in 2014 when I had the chance to go to the UN in New York with some friends from university, and during the course, the preparation course, in order to go to the US, we needed to analyze and study deeply every single concept that was mentioned in the UN Charter. And please allow me to mention what the UN Charter says. It mandates that the UN and its member states maintain the international peace and security, uphold uphold the international law, achieve higher standards of living for their citizens, address economic problems, and promote universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms for people of different races, different nationalities, different religions, and so forth and so on. So all these things that I've learned through these experiences and through what this huge organization that I still respect much said, those were kind of the main values or the main views that I was looking forward to achieve, either educationally or in my profession. However, it didn't fulfill me completely. So another thing that really caught my attention from the UN Charter is that it said that this organization aimed to maintain international peace. But this word peace really caught my attention. And yes, I know that it was because the UN was built right after the Second World War, and it was mainly referring to the ceasefire and the harmony between different nations. However, I wanted to dig deeper on what peace actually means, especially from a biblical perspective, because I'm Christian. And when I went further with the description of what peace means, I found this description of Cornelius Plantinga, who is an American theologian, and is also the president of the Calvin Theological Seminary. And he described the Old Testament term of the word peace, that in Hebrew means shalom. And he said that is the waving together of God humans and all creation in justice, fulfillment, and delight, is what the Hebrews prophets call shalom. We call it peace, but it means far more than a mere peace of mind or a cease of fire between enemies. In the Bible, shalom means universal flourishing, wholeness, and delight, a rich state of affairs in which natural needs are satisfied and natural gifts fruitfully employed, a state of affairs that inspire joyful wonder as its creator and savior opens doors and welcomes the creatures in whom he delights. Shalom, in other words, is the way things ought to be. So when I went through this description, I was so much thankful to be able to understand a little bit deeper on what Jesus Christ meant when he was addressing to his disciples and all his followers. And in John 14, he says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid." And I love his perspective because he's basically telling us that with him we can have this wholeness, this completeness, this delight in his word and in his character. And even in John 16, chapters, like from chapters 25 to 33, there is a whole narrative, and I love to read the full chapter nowadays of every book of the Bible, because it gives me a better context, a better perspective on what Jesus really meant when he was preaching to his followers and the disciples. And in this part, he mentions that he's speaking to the disciples, and he's mentioning that he comes from the Father, and because the disciples loved him, they love the Father and they keep his commandments, and that now it's time for him to go back to the Father, because he came from him, but he needs to go back to ascend to heaven again. And the disciples is hilarious because they said, "Oh, okay, now we understand. Now we fully understand. Thanks for not speaking in parables anymore. Now we know that you come from the Father." And I just laughed when I read this description of the disciples, because I was like, dude, like, didn't you see him like healing so many people and walking on water and calming the storm and bringing people from death, and at this point you tell him, "Oh, now we believe"? So for me it was just funny to see like how naive and how blind we can be, like human beings can be, at the magnitude of the things that Jesus was mentioning. So what I love from Jesus' response is that he said that, "Oh, now you believe all these things?" And he then says, like, "Even when you will be divided and even when you will betray me, I know that I'm not alone, but the Father is in me." And he finishes in verse 33 saying, "I have said these things to you, that in me you might have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." So basically what Jesus Christ is saying, that only in him we can overcome every single tribulation, that as Christians we might encounter a lot of persecution, a lot of criticism, a lot of people that will tag us as religious or radical or extremist. But he is giving us the promise that if we are in him, we can have this peace that surpasses all understandings. And it doesn't matter how much wealth we have, it doesn't matter how many achievements that we have, it doesn't matter how successful we are, however you define success. It doesn't matter how good relationships you have with your family or with your friends. It doesn't matter how successful you are at your work, at your studies, but I've realized now with everything that I've known and I've experienced so far, that as long as I don't have Christ in my life, I'm nothing. And without him, I can never have the peace that, as I said, surpasses all understandings. So if you want to know how you can do an impact in the life or in the world, look unto Jesus, and see what he has to say for your life. and know that He loves you and that He came to save you and to save me and to give you life and to give it in abundance. I hope this message was clear and that it was fruitful, and it's really meant to edify your mind, your soul, and your life. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week with the third the third series on this main topic of positive culture. Bye bye.